Live now.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Sadguru, Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambha. Shri Shankaracharya Madhyamam. Asmadacharya Paryantam. Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Padarayanam. Sutra Bhashya Krudau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam. Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranadosmyaham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Hari Om. Last time we had come down to the shloka number 515, and from today 516 time, or the verse number 516, we will commence the same discourse on the Viveka Chudamani. Now the disciple is pouring out his unique, unparalleled, personal, direct experience of realizing Atman, realizing the self in front of his preceptor, in front of his Sadguru. In all these shlokas, he is narrating impromptu all those feelings which have prompted him to come out with that speech pattern about his Atmanubhava or Aparokshanubhuti. Now he continues, the disciple continues in front of his Guru. Swarajya Samrajya Vibhotiresha Bhavat Krupa Shri Mahima Prasadat Prapta Maya Shri Guruve Mahatmane Namo Namaste Stu Punar Namostu. The Shishya is telling to his Guru, Swarajya Swamrajya Vibhotiresha Bhavat Krupa Shri Mahima Prasadat. Please note down in the mind, let us all note down the keywords. Bhavat Krupa Shri Mahima Prasadat. Swarajya Samrajya Vibhotiresha Bhavat Krupa Shri Mahima Prasadat. Prapta Maya Shri Guruve Mahatmane Namo Namaste Stu Punar Namostu. Namo Namaste Stu Punar Namostu. ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಎದುರು ಆತನನ್ನು ಸಂಬೋಧಿಸಿ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಹೇ ಗುರು ಮಹಾರಾಜ, ಗುರು ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮ, ಗುರುವರ್ಯ, ಗುರುವರೆಣ್ಯ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೃಪೆಯ ಎಂಬ ಆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿಯ ಪ್ರಸಾದದಿಂದ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ವೈಭೋಗ ನನಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತವಾಯಿತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಪಾರವಾದ ಕೃಪೆಯೇ ಕಾರಣ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರುಣೆಯೇ ಕಾರಣ. ಅಂತಹ ಮಹಾತ್ಮನಾದಂತಹ, ಮಹಾತ್ಮರಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮಹಾತ್ಮನಾದಂತಹ ನನ್ನ ಗುರುವಾದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುವೇ, ನಿನಗೆ ಪುನಃ 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 ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹೇ ಸದ್ಗುರು, ಹೇ ಮಹಾತ್ಮನ್, ಹೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರು, it is only by your grace, your compassionate grace, filled with compassion and karuna. Hey Mahatma, Hey Guru Sarvabhauma, hey Sri Guru, I have attained this Swarajya and Samrajya because of your grace. Swarajya means total self-sovereignty. I have attained that sovereignty. I have become the supreme. There is nobody above me. I have become Isha myself. I have become that myself. So Swarajya and Samraj. Samraj, I have obtained. What is Samrajya? Lordship over everything in the universe. Samraj. So I have become that Samrat. I have become that greatest emperor among the emperors, greatest emperor above this entire universe, controlling the whole universe. So that Swarajya and Samrajya have been obtained by me mainly because of your grace, your Kripa Kataksha, your Prasada, Atu Prasada, Bhavat Kripa Shri Mahima Prasada. Only because of your grace I have obtained all these things. So Namo Namaste, Namo Namaste Stu, Punar Namostu, Namo Namaste Stu, Punar Namostu. So again and again, I bow down to you for this most precious gift which a man, after being born, what he should obtain. So you have made me to achieve that goal. Now I have become Pratartha, I have become Dhanya. So I again bow down. I do my sincere pranams, namaskara at your lotus feet again and again, again and again. So my obeisance to you, noble Guru, again and again. Mahaswapne maya kruta janijara mrutyugahane. Shishya continues with folded hands. Mahaswapne maya kruta janijara mrutyugahane dhramantam klishyantam bahulatar tapairanudinam. Mahaswapne maya kruta janijara mrutyugahane भ्रमन्तं क्लिश्यन्तं बहुलतरतापैरनुदिनम् अहङ्कारव्याघ्रविदितम् इमम् अत्यन्तकृपया प्रबोध्य प्रस्वापात् परमवितवान् मामसि अहङ्कारव्याघ्रविदितम् इमम् अत्यन्तकृपया प्रबोध्य प्रस्वापात् परम् अवितवान् मामसि. ಸದ್ಗುರುವೇ, ಗುರು ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಮಹಾಸ್ವಪ್ನದಂತೆ ದೀರ್ಘವಾದ ಈ ಕನಸು, ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಕನಸಿನ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವಾದ ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಕೃತವಾದಂತಹ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಮುಪ್ಪು ಸಾವು ಎಂಬ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರದ ಘನಘೋರ ಅರಣ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲಿಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ನನಗೆ, ದಾರಿ ಕಾಣದೆ ತೊಳೆದಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಂತಹ ನನಗೆ ಬಗೆ ಬಗೆಯ ತಾಪಗಳಿಂದ, ಕ್ಲೇಶಗಳಿಂದ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಎಂಬ ಹುಲಿಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ವ್ಯಥೆ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ತೊಂದರೆ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಸದ್ಗುರುವೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಪಾರವಾದ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಿಂದ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚರಗೊಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ, ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಎಂಬ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಿಂದ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚರಗೊಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ ಗುರುವೇ. ನೀವು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಕಾಪಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಮಾಯಾಕೃತವಾದಂತಹ ಸಂಸಾರ ಭವಸಾಗರದಿಂದ, ಭವಸಾಗರ ಎಂಬ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಎಂಬ ನನ್ನ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಿಂದ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚರಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸೊ here the disciple is using so many similes, examples to explain his own situation. O noble Guru, Guru Mahatma, disciple says, in this greatest dream called samsara, which is nothing but a huge forest created by Maya itself, in this forest of samsara, which is nothing but the jungle of birth, old age, and death. This is because of Maya. I had got totally exhausted in this Bhavasagara, in this jungle of samsara. I was totally exhausted. I was troubled by various afflictions, troubled by sufferings, fears, worries, anxiety, tension at every moment in this samsara. I was totally suffering, totally, I was exhausted, totally distressed, moving hither and thither without any proper way to come out of this samsara called this jungle, this forest called samsara, which was due to Maya, due to my own avidya, due to my ajnana. I was held up, I was troubled, I was tormented. Not only that, I was tormented by the tiger called ego itself, me and mine complex, ahambhava. I was totally tormented by the tiger called ego. See the example the disciple is giving. Ahankara vyaghra vyatitam imam mam. Ahankara vyaghra vyatitam imam mam, he says. So that means I was totally under the spell of this ahamkar, ahambhava, ego factor, which includes me and mine, because of passion, because of raga, because of moha. So I was afflicted. All that by your infinite grace, you are the Lordship incarnate in the human form, because by your grace, you have awakened me from this delusion called samsara. You have awakened me, prabhodya praswapa, param avitavan mam. You have awakened me from this dream called samsara. It's by your grace, only by your compassion it has happened. Otherwise, I would have lost myself in the samsara, in this cycle of birth and death, which has occurred since eons, since hundreds and hundreds of previous thousands of births. I have continued in this journey of samsara, and I would have been caught up again and again, and you actually helped me to come out of this samsara, this cycle of birth and death. And it's all because of your grace. So the Shishya is failing again and again and bowing down to the Guru again and again. Atyanta krupaya praswapat prabhodhya. Praswapat means the deep sleep of ajnana wrought by Maya, the deep sleep of ignorance wrought by the Maya. So from this sleep called the waking world, which is being experienced by the five senses of the sense organs of the body, thinking that it is real, you have awakened me, my Gurudeva. You have helped me to come out of this. So again and again here, a digression which I remember is our Gurudeva always used to hammer this point that only by Dhatu Prasada, only by the grace of the Guru, spiritual journey culminates in a qualified disciple or in a Uttama Adhikari. In this birth itself, in this birth itself, the qualified disciple Mumukshu will become Krutakrutya, my Gurudev used to say, by the grace of the Guru. When the disciple performs the Guru Seva, Guru Shushrusha, and follows his dictates, his Adesha, his Upadesha in letter and spirit, and continues the spiritual sadhana, surrendering himself to the Guru, to the Sadguru. The Sadguru will show the way, will lead the way in this birth itself. And the Mumukshu will be liberated in this birth itself. Our Gurudev was always telling this point. Always he was narrating this point. All Mahatmas know this absolute truth. So here the Guru is none other than God himself. There is no difference between Sadguru, a Brahmajnani, a realized Guru, and Paramatma himself. Just like there is no difference between the Pratyagatma, the Atma inside, the Paramachaitanya, and the Paramatma. All are one and the same. So there is a saying, a famous saying in the Vedanta. Durlabho Vishayat Tyagaha Durlabham Tattva Darshan Durlabha Sahajavastha Sadguru Krupaya Vina. Each one is difficult in this birth to attain by majority of spiritual aspirants in this pilgrimage towards perfection. Each step is difficult. Durlabho Vishayatyaga. Vishayatyaga is Durlabha, almost next to impossible. Almost impossible. Not that completely impossible. It is so difficult. Durlabha. It's not possible for majority. That is the meaning of the word Durlabha. Durlabha Vishayatyaga. It is very difficult to give up the raga and dvesha, the passion and the moha, and the desires, clamoring about the sensuous objects, clamoring about, relishing about the enjoyable, pleasurable things in life, always wanting and desiring everything in the life for personal indulgence, for personal gratification, for personal satisfaction. So that desire, that kama is there, that lust is there. It is difficult to give up. Difficult to give up. However much the mind says, determined for a spiritual aspirant, it is very difficult. Very difficult. That is the meaning. Durlabho Vishayatya. Then the next step, Durlabham Tattva Darshanam. Tattva Darshanam. Like a flash, realizing the Atman inside, realizing the self, realizing our true nature, realizing our true identity, that I am no more the body, I am no more the subtle body, I am no more the gross body, I am not even the causal body, I am beyond all these three forms of the body. I am neither Sthula Sharira, I am nor Sukshma Sharira, nor even Karana Sharira. I am beyond all these three. I am that supreme self. That is Tattvajnana, Tattvadarshan. That is realization. So, Durlabham Tattvadarshan. After that, third line is Durlabha Sahajavastha. Once a realization dawns in, like a flash, it has to stabilize. And for that, constant nididhyasa, constant dwelling in that state of samadhi is required. So that is what is called, only by constant practice, by constant meditation, the realized Brahmavida will finally enter into a state called Sahaja Sthiti, Sahaja Avastha, natural state. natural state. What is natural state? Sahajavastha. A Brahmajnani ultimately will enter into Sahajavastha, natural state. What is the natural state? He always remains totally abiding in the self. Totally, he is under that bliss, under that ocean of bliss. Never he budges from that. Even though he is moving in this world of Maya, nowhere, nothing will affect. He is beyond this body-mind conscious apparatus. He stabilizes himself in the pure self-abiding Paramachaitanya, because he himself is that Paramachaitanya. He himself becomes the radiating factor, the soothing factor. So, such a Brahmajnani is the Lord incarnate. He is that Paramatma Swarupa himself. He is that Brahma Swarupa himself, Parabrahma Swarupa himself. So that is Sahajavastha. Attainment of that is still difficult. So the saying is, Durlabho Vishayatyagaha Durlabham Tattva-darshanam Durlabha Sahajavastha Sadguru Krupaya Vina. So all these things happen by the Sadguru Krupa. Sadguru Krupaya Vina Durlabham. Sadguru Krupaya Vina Durlabham Vishayatya. Sadguru Krupaya Vina Durlabham Tattva Darshanam. Sadguru Krupaya Vina Durlabham Sahajavastha. That is how we should consider. So, for the disciple, again and again, what else is there to narrate? These things, what else is there? There is nothing else. He has exhausted himself. He has poured out through the heart with the total devotion, explained everything, his own experiences of Atmanubhava, his own experience of the self-realization, and the experience of becoming a Brahmajnani or becoming a Jivanmukta. So finally, the disciple, the Uttama Shishya, finally, completely goes down. With the folded hands, he says, Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. He Sadguru hai, Guru Sarvabhauma, Guru Raja. Vishwarupadinda neevu Prakashagundu, Tejo Rupanagi, Sadaika Rupadinda, Eka Rupanagi, Mano Vakugaligu Agocharanagi Prakashagundirtakantaha Nimage Nanu Punaha Natamastakanagittene Saštanga Namaskaragalana Salista ittene. Guru Varya. That is the point here. Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chitmahase Namaha Yedetat Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. My salutations, my obeisance to you, Gurudeva, again and again, Hey Sadguru, you are the king among the preceptors. You are the Guru Sarvabhauma. And you are nothing but the entire universe manifested in the human form. You are that Parama Chaitanya, Paramatma Swarupa in the human form. With radiating your effulgence everywhere, it is shining out everywhere. So again and again, I bow down to you. So here, the expressions, the Vaikhari of the disciple ends. He prostrates ultimately. And all the time, the Sadguru, who himself is a Brahmajnani, a great Brahmajnani himself, looking at the disciple with all that smile, with all the compassion, with all that merciful look, with the look, what is called Guru Kataksha, the glance, filled with divine love. So with all the divine love, the Sadguru is looking at the Shishya himself, disciple himself, listening to him attentively, without even interrupting him. He is so pleased. And finally, he will approve with nodding his head now and then. He will approve every word spoken by the Shishya in front of him with the same serene, divine smile on his lips. He was so pleased, and his benedictory glance, his look, his krupa and his grace is pouring out abundantly in front of, on the disciple himself. Both the Sadguru and the disciple, they are basking in this, the glory, in this glorious moment of the absolute truth shining itself on one side in the form of Sadguru, on the other side in the form of disciple, who himself has become realized by the grace of the Guru. You have to imagine that. In the autobiography of Scientist's Search for Truth, in the final 18th chapter, a similar point our Gurudev has expressed and beautifully written, that when all the personal, direct, aparoksha, anubhuti experiences of God realization, self-realization, when it flashed, our Gurudeva noted down later all those points, what things happened, how the things went on, lest he should not forget. We noted down, and then the very next morning he came down running to his Guru, that is our Paramaguru Swami Vidyananda Saraswati at Rishikesh, and our Gurudev narrates all first hand his personal experience, what happened previous evening. Everything he explains without failing, without faltering. And later, listening to our Gurudev, what happens? You have to read that book. Our Paramaguru Swami Vidyananda Saraswati, smilingly, how he looks upon our Gurudev, and then he asserts that, yes, this is in fact the realization. This is in fact the Brahma Vidya you have obtained. This is the Atma Jnana you have obtained. This is the absolute truth. There is no doubt about it. He corroborates. He confirms. He puts the stamp of authority of the Sadguru and confirms all these points. So beautiful. It is there in the life history, autobiography of our Gurudev, the last 18th chapter. I was fortunate in one sense, I would say. You know why? Because Gurudev had ordained me to translate the entire such magnum opus called his autobiography, Scientist's Search for Truth, into the native Kannada language. And while translating the 18th final chapter, I was a bit nervous. Every time, of course, I used to sit. Every time I used to sit before writing up always used to pray our Gurudeva to give me all the strength. I used to pray him that he should actually sit inside me, hold my fingers, these fingers with a pen to write down, to translate what cannot be translated. Such absolute happening, metaphysical, esoterical happenings I have to translate means it is not possible at all. So, while finally, after the translation of 18th chapter, his personal experiences in front of his Guru, when I broached the subject in front of my Guru, Gurudeva, Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, gingerly, with hesitation, I told him this 18th chapter I have completed, the translation part. I begged him, totally prostrating full on the ground all the time. I requested with folded hands that let him go through this and see whether it has come up to the level. Because translation, that too myself, absolutely I knew that I am not capable at all. I am unfit at all. Without any background of Samskrita, without any background of Vedanta, without much background of my own native language, Kannada. And our Gurudev, looking into that, he was also smiling. He said, you have done a wonderful job. He said, you have done a wonderful job. I immediately corrected him. No, Gurudeva, it is not me at all. I know that it is not me, this person, this physical entity with a name and status. No, it is you. So it's all because of that compassion, your grace, it has worked through this nimble fingers. So I never consider, nowhere I am in the picture. It is Sadguru himself sitting here in the garb of this person and translating the English into the Kannada language. The magnum opus book, Scientists Search for Truth, into the Kannada language. And when I narrated again and again, same thing, that I have not done anything at all. If at all any credit is there, it is only the credit goes to the Sadguru himself with boundless compassion. And all the time he was so pleasingly smiling. How I wish I can explain that to people in front of me sitting and listening. I'm sorry I cannot explain such a profound personal experience. So this is the landmark shloka here. We have to remember. Namastasmai sadaikasmai kasmai chinmahase namaha yadetad vishwarupena rajate guru rajate. Prostration to the Guru, salutation to the Guru, obeisance to the Guru for having shown the way. So next, now we come to the last part of Viveka Chudamani, wherein now after listening, the Sadguru, who is so immensely pleased, now he starts giving out the Upasamhara, the final Upadesha we call, final benediction. So here, now in the last part of Viveka Chudamani, this is so important. Now the Sadguru himself is speaking. Now Sadguru himself starts explaining, giving out his final Upadesha. It is called Upasamhara, synopsis. So the entire Viveka Chudamani concept, which is brought in here by Srimad Shankara Bhagavatpada, again, that is summarized in the next few sets of shlokas. This is the last part of Viveka Chudamani we are entering in. ಈ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳು ಸದ್ಗುರು ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ಚಿತ್ತದಿಂದ ಶಿಷ್ಯನ ಆತ್ಮಾನುಭವದ ವರ್ಣನೆಯನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿ ಈಗ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಂತಹ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಗಹನವಾದ ವೇದಾಂತದ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ಈ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗುರು ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇತಿ ನತಂ ಅವಲೋಕ್ಯ ಶಿಷ್ಯವರ್ಯಂ ಸಮಾಧಿಗದಾತ್ಮ ಸುಖಂ ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧ ತತ್ವಂ ಪ್ರಮುದಿತ ಹೃದಯ ಸ ದೇಶಿಕೇಂದ್ರ ಪುನರಿದಂ ಮಾಹ ವಚಃ ಪರಂ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ. ಹೀಗೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂದವನ್ನ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಗಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಅರಿತುಕೊಂಡು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಶಿಷ್ಯೋತ್ತಮನನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಆನಂದದಿಂದ ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ ಆ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಮಹಾತ್ಮನಾದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯವರ್ಯ ಆ ಗುರು ಈಗ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ನೌ smilingly looking at the disciple who has realized the bliss of Atman, who has awakened to the truth, the noble Guru, the Sadguru, the Sri Guru, with all satisfaction, now commences his final Upadesh. Punaridam aha vachah param Mahatma. Now Mahatma, Sadguru starts speaking. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಸಂತತಿರ್ ಜಗದತೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೈವ ತತ್ಸರ್ವತಃ ಪಶ್ಯ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಶಾ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಮನಸಾ ಸರ್ವಾ ಅವಸ್ಥಾಪಿ ಸ್ವಾಪಿ ಸರ್ವಾಸು ಅವಸ್ಥಾಪಿ ಸ್ವಾಪಿ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಸಂತತಿರ್ ಜಗದತೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೈವ ತತ್ಸರ್ವತಃ ಪಶ್ಯ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಶಾ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಮನಸ ಸರ್ವ ಅವಸ್ಥಾಸು ಅಪಿ. ರೂಪಾತ್ ಅನ್ಯದವೇಕ್ಷಿತುಂ ಕಿಮಭಿತ ಚಕ್ಷುಷ್ಮುತಾಂ ವಿದ್ಯತೆ ತದ್ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದಃ ಸತಃ ಕಿಮಪರಂ ಬುದ್ಧೇರ್ವಿಹಾರಾಸ್ಪದಂ. 4 ಚರಣ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಸಂತತಿರ್ ಜಗದತೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೈವ ತತ್ಸರ್ವತಃ ಪಶ್ಯಾತ್ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಶಾ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಮನಸ ಸರ್ವ ಅವಸ್ಥಾಸು ಅಪಿ. ಸರ್ವಾಸು ಅವಸ್ಥಾಸು ಅಪಿ ಪಶ್ಯ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಶಾ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಮನಸ ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಶಾ ಪಶ್ಯ ಸರ್ವಾಸು ಅವಸ್ಥಾಸು ಅಪಿ. So the first 2 lines, if I take, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಉತ್ತಮೋತ್ತಮನಾದಂಥ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು, ಈ ವಿಶ್ವ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯದ ಪ್ರವಾಹ, ನಿರಂತರವಾದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯದ ಪ್ರವಾಹವೇ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಇದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ, ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನು ಈ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವನ್ನೇ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಯ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಜಾಗೃತಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಸ್ವಪ್ನಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಈ 3 ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗುರು ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಸರ್ವ ಕಾಲಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಸರ್ವ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕೃತವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯದ ನಿರಂತರ ಪ್ರವಾಹ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಿಂದ ಹೊರಬಂದಂತಹ ಜಗತ್ತು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಇದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಧಾರ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಜಗತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಕೂಟಸ್ಥವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ, ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಜಗತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಏನು ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯಮಯದಿಂದ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಸರುಗಳಿಂದ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಜಗತ್ತು, ನಿಜವಾದ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಜವಾದ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಜಗತ್ತಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ತೋರ್ಕೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಆದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವ ಮತ್ತು ಜಗತ್ತು ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಬಂದಿರೋದೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದಿಂದ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವಿನಿಂದ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಸಂತತಿ ಜಗತ್ ಜಗತ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಸಂತತಿ ಜಗತ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. The Guru is telling the disciple, look, my dear disciple, this universe, Vishwa, this Jagat, is nothing but a continuous stream of cognition of Brahman. Brahma pratyaya santati Jagat tato brahmaiva tat sarvataha. This Jagat, this visible, diversified, this duality persisting Jagat or Vishwa or this Prapancha, what is this? It is nothing but a continuous stream of the cognition of Brahman. It is a stream of Brahman itself. Brahma pratyaya santati Jagat. Ataha brahmaiva tat sarvataha. So this is nothing but Parabrahma Vastu. This Jagat ultimately, in the final analysis, when you go to the core point, what is there at the base of the Jagat, from which source the Jagat has come, from which base the universe has come out in the creation? Parabrahma Vastu only. So, Vastutaha, in reality, when you go to the core point, the absolute point is, this Jagat is nothing but a manifested appearance of Parabrahma Vastu only, Paramatma Vastu only. In that sense, the whole thing is Parabrahma Vastu only. In the real sense, in the reality, when you go to the abstract point, at the deeper level, if you analyze, this whole universe is nothing but Paramatma Vastu. That is why the Upanishad Vachana is there, Mahavakya. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahmaha. In reality, everything is Brahma Padartha only, Parabrahma only. See, there is nothing without Paramatma Vastu. There is nothing without Parabrahma Vastu. There is nothing without this Parama Chaitanya traversing everywhere. It is a base, a substratum, without which the universe cannot sustain itself. This appeared, created universe or Jagat cannot be independently sustaining without Parabrahma Vastu. That is Adhar. Parabrahma Vastu can sustain itself as it is without Jagat, but Jagat cannot sustain without Paramatma. In simple language, Paramatma is independent, can always remain without Jagat, without creation. But the created world cannot remain without Paramatma, Parabrahma Vastu. That is the point. Brahma pratyaya santati Jagat ato brahmaiva tat sarvataha pashya tatyatma dusha prashanta manasa sarva avasthasu api. Sarvasu avasthasu api pashya adhyatma dusha prashanta manasa sarvasvavasthasu sarvasu avasthasu api. So next line, Acharya tells his disciple, Pashya means, that is why look. Look means always behold. Always behold. See and perceive in all the three states, that is in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. In all the three states which you undergo every day, always perceive and feel by this spiritual eye, by the spiritual vision, with a prashanta manas, with the mind totally stilled and at peace, perceive this Parabrahma Vastu everywhere. Pashya means perceive, look, see. The whole thing, the universe, it is underlined by the Brahma Padartha. So your vision, your drushti should be on that Brahma Padartha, not on the outer manifested, this duality, but the inner core. So you should always concentrate on the locus, inner core. Whole thing is Parabrahma Vastu. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahma Vastu. Verily, Upanishad says, really, everything is Brahma. Everything is Paramatma in the real sense. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. That is Upanishad state. What does it mean? That is what Acharya is telling here. Pashya Adhyatma Dusha Prashanta Manasa Sarvasu Avasthasu Api Brahmaiva Tat Sarvataha. Tat Sarvataha Brahma Eva. Everything is Parabrahma Vastu. Everything is Paramatma Vastu in the ultimate analysis. When you go to the core, that is nothing but Parabrahma. God Himself, Paramatma Himself manifested the creation. So the whole creation is underlined by Paramatma only. He is there fully encompassing the entire creation, upside, down, left, right, up, above, wherever. Everything is overlapped by Parabrahma Vastu. Now the next two lines, Acharya gives an example to the result. Rupat anyadavekshitam kimabhita chakshushmatam vidyate tadvat brahmavidah satah kimaparam buddhe viharaspadam. Rupat anyadavekshitam kim abhita chakshushmatam vidyate tadvat brahmavidah satah kim aparam buddhe viharaspadam. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ. ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನು? ನಮ್ಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಕಣ್ಣಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡೋದು, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ. ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಕೆಲಸ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ನಾನಾ ವಿಧವಾದ ರೂಪಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದು. ಆ ರೂಪಗಳನ್ನ, ವೈವಿಧ್ಯಮ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಆಕಾರ ರೂಪವನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದೇ ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ? ಕಣ್ಣು ಮೂಸು ನೋಡಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ರುಚಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಶಬ್ದ ಕೇಳೋದಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಸುಖ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಕೆಲಸ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ರೂಪವನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದು. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ? ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯಮವಾದ ರೂಪ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಣ್ಣಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ. ನೋಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ನೋಟವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ? ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪನಾದಂತಹ, ಪ್ರತ್ಯಗಾತ್ಮನಾದಂತಹ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆತನ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ? ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದಂತಹ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದಂಥವನಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಹೋಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ರೂಪಾತ್ ಅನನ್ಯದವೇಕ್ಷಿತಂ ಕಿಮಭಿತ್ ಚಕ್ಷುಷ್ಮತಾಂ ವಿದ್ಯತೆ ತದ್ವದ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದಃ ಸತ ಕಿಮಪರಂ ಬುದ್ಧೇರ್ವಿಹಾರಾಸ್ಪದಂ. So, what is the function of the eye? Acharya is giving example here. What is the function of the eye? The function of the eye is only to see, observe, record the images of the forms around. The function of the eye is to see only. Other than that, there is no other function for the eye allotted as a sense organ. So too, for those who have realized Brahman, for those who have realized Atman. There is nothing else other than engaging their buddhi into the Atma only. So for a Brahmajnani, other than abiding in that Atma Swarupa, there is nothing else. There is no other work. There is no other way. Always his vision is he is abiding in that Brahmavastu only. Sahajavastha. So that is the example. Kastam paranandarasana उत्सृज्य शून्येषु रमेत विद्वान् चंद्रे महल्लादिनि दीप्यमाने चित्रेन्दुमालोकयितं कयिच्छेत्. 4-line चरण. कस्तां परानन्दरसानुभूतिम् उत्सृज्य शून्येषु रमेत विद्वान् चंद्रे महल्लादिनि दीप्यमाने चित्रेन्दु ಆಲೋಕಯಿತಂ ಕಯಿಚ್ಛೇತ್. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹುಣ್ಣಿಮೆಯ ರಾತ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಹ್ಲಾದಕರವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಆನಂದಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಚಂದ್ರ ಬೆಳಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಚಂದ್ರನನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ನೋಡೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಚಿತ್ರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಂದ್ರನ ಆಕಾರ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಚಿತ್ರಪಟ, ಚಿತ್ರವನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಸಂಭ್ರಮಗೊಳ್ತಾರ? ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಮಾನವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳಗ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಚಂದ್ರನನ್ನ ನೋಡೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮನೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಚಂದ್ರನ ಚಿತ್ರವನ್ನ, ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್, ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಆನಂದ ಪಡ್ತಾರ? ನಿಜವಾದ ಚಂದ್ರ, ಹುಣ್ಣಿಮೆ ಚಂದ್ರ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಮಾನವಾಗಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದ ರಸಾನಂದ, ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದವಾದಂತಹ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಂತಹ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸ ಆ ಮಹಾ ಆನಂದವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇತರೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರದ ನೀರಸವಾದ ವಿಷಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆತನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಹೇಗೆ ತಾನೇ ಹೋದೀತು? ನಿಜವಾದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದವನ್ನೇ ಆತ ಹೊಂದಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನು ವಸ್ತುತಃ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖದ ಕಡೆ ಆತನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಹೋಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಾಪಂಚಿಕ ಸುಖದ ಕಡೆ ಆತನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಹೋಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರ ಮನಸ್ಸು? ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಆತ ನಿಜಾನಂದವನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದವನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ. ಆತ್ಮಾನಂದವನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಇತರೆ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖಗಳಿಂದ ಏನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ? ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ. ಕಸ್ತಾಂ ಪರಾನಂದ ರಸಾನುಭೂತಿಂ ಉತ್ಸೃಜ್ಯ ಶೂನ್ಯೇಷು ರಮೇತ ವಿದ್ವಾನ್. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್. ಅಸ್ತು ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಕಸ್ತಾಂ ಪರಾನಂದ ರಸಾನುಭೂತಿಂ ಉತ್ಸೃಜ್ಯ ಶೂನ್ಯೇಷು ರಮೇತ ವಿದ್ವಾನ್. Vidwan here means a realized soul, a Brahmajnani, an Atmajnani who has completely by first hand experienced that ocean of bliss, Brahmananda. So giving up that Brahmananda, that bliss, how can a Brahmajnani, a realized soul, can indulge into the shunya, void, sensuous things, unreal, mithya jagat, in worldly things, in worldly pleasures? When a Brahmajnani has finally experiencing the highest bliss, permanent bliss, everlasting bliss, in what way he is bothered about this Vishyananda, Prapanchika Sukha, in the worldly pleasures? He is no way concerned. Just like Acharya gives, Chandre Mahalladini Dipyamane Chitrendum Alokayitam Kaiche. So when the real moon, full moon night, when the real full moon is shining brilliantly, beautifully, enchantingly outside, soothing the mind and the eye, giving the delight, without observing that natural delight, who will desire to look into a painted moon, a moon drawn on the paper, painted on the paper? When compared to the real, the moonlight outside, shining, who will bother to see a painted moon inside the home? So that is the example Acharya is giving. So when the point is, there is nothing which can be compared to the eternal bliss Brahman. That is why all the Mahatmas always they revel in that, their own internal bliss. What it is, nobody can explain. No normal person, no ajnani bound into samsara can understand what that word bliss is. What is that Brahmananda is? Nobody can fathom. Nobody can understand. However much words are used, as repeatedly said, that ecstatic experience, when you revel yourself that there is nothing else to do. Everything what has to be achieved has been achieved in life. When you become Kritakritya, all desires have left. What else is there? You are reveling itself in the joy, superlative joy, the pleasure. And that joy, that pleasure is everlasting, 24/7 in our language, if we have to speak. All the time, all the time. So that joy or the pleasure is super sensuous. You can't understand, you can't estimate, you can't measure what is that joy. So that is a joy called Brahmananda. You have become supreme. You are Lord to yourself. You have become Sarvatantra Swatantra. To imagine that, it is not possible, that state. Because the mind, however much you try, the mind cannot. This mind, which is the product of Maya itself, cannot fathom that supreme bliss, that Brahmananda. So subtly Acharya has given an example, simile here. When the full moon is shining outside in the night, do you think anybody, a fool, sitting in the home, in the room, will enjoy the painted moon or the drawing of the moon, full moon? When immediately if you step outside, there is a full moon. So only fools can enjoy, revel in that painted moon, looking at that painted moon, drawing inside the house. A wise man will always go out of the house, look at the sky, see the beautiful full moon shining brilliantly with all the radiance, that moonlight, which is so pleasing to the eyes, unlike the sunlight. The moonlight is so pleasing, so pleasant, so magnificent, so enchanting. At least you can see the moonlight and understand what I am talking on a full moon day. If you go out alone, especially outside the city, in the countryside, where there is golden silence, full of forest, full of greenery, darkness around you, when you look up how the full moon is shining, that we can at least visualize. We can visualize. So that example, Acharya is giving. So all of us ajnanis are like people sitting in the home, enjoying the painting of the moon, reveling, how wonderful, beautiful painting, how beautifully painted, how beautifully drawn. So we are enjoying only in that, forgetting that The real moonlight, moonshine is outside in the night, next to our house. We don't venture. We don't want, see, we don't look up the sky on a full moon day or 2-3 days prior to the full moon day, 2-3 days after the full moon day, almost for 8 days, you can see how the moon is shining in the night sky. How many will venture? So that is the example, Acharya. Chandre mahalladine dipyamane chitrendum alokayitam kaichet. So shloka number 521 by Guru Sankalpa. I am stopping here. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwara.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om. Dhanyawad, sir.